everything is round and I can feel it touching it.
Correct.
Welcome back to another episode of Terry.
Thornberry Performance, baby. We're here, as you guys can see, with Poison Ivy inside the beautiful polished engine bay. So she's looking nice and beautiful in your bay, but to be honest, she sounded a little quiet. Isn't that right, Terry?
Oh yeah.
I'm hearing nothing blapping up to life.
We had a long weekend.
Oh, of what? Mini truck madness. So stay tuned. We definitely got some more mini trucks for you, and they're definitely a little bit of a twist. But for right now, we need to hear this thing at least wrap up to life, or at least get a little bit of that KA sound that you guys are missing on this Poison Ivy video. You've already heard on the Queen automatic. Now let's hear it Poison Ivy full straight pipe manual, baby. That being said, we're moving on to what, Terry?
The wiring.
Yes, sir, the wiring. Terry was already going on the last video about all the wiring, so now we're gonna go ahead and clean it all up, get it all situated. We're gonna be going through the engine wiring, and we're gonna be also going through on some of the cabin stuff, getting all finalized and situated. Now with the audio, just getting all finalized with the engine, baby.
The new radiator came in, so we can be buttoning up the cooling system as soon as we finalize the wiring situation and finally hear this thing bring to life, because it sure does look good. Now it's time to hear it and see it on the road looking just as good as it's on the lift, baby.
So let's get working and let's start hearing this thing wrap up to life. We really got a little bit amount of time, don't we, boy?
Yep, let's roll.
Let's go.
Yeah, baby! How perfect it fits. Perfection is key, baby. So the carpet fits nice. All you gotta do is just trim it back just a little bit with the handy dandy razor. Woo! Come home. Come home. Man, that was a nightmare to get. But I got it. Now the throttle cable will go right through that hole, exactly how it's supposed to. That hole is just a little smaller than the hole that's on the firewall. So now it actually slipped right through. Good to go. Just watch. Just like that, baby! Just like that! Woo! Oh, I love what I do, baby. Oh, so now the throttle cable is out here. Now I'm just gonna button up the interior, make it all good to go. Get these nuts back on the throttle cable how they're supposed to. Hook it up on the throttle. So now that when Jack gets the harness all ready to go and install, we can actually have a little bit of throttle controlment. Let's go.
Right now I'm just getting everything for the engine harness situated. Nothing is permanent, it's just making sure that all of the wiring, powers, and the grounds are talking to the ECU and therefore so everything is working on the motor part. Once that's all situated, we'll go ahead and clean it all up to our specs, put it back into the cabin and tuck it all so it's nice and neat, and do our little wiring harness trick. So stay tuned, we'll get this thing started up and see how she sounds.
Moving on from the engine bay wiring to the interior wiring, we got to make sure that the engine bay wiring is nice and clean and tucked away, along with the ECU, the brain to control the freaking thing. So, to give us some more room on the inside, we remove this AC blower motor, or aka heater blower motor, because there was no AC in this thing. So once we take that off, we actually have a lot more room, and you can actually see the actual firewall hole that the whole engine harness and chassis harness runs through. So with that being said, now once the motor starts, we can actually now start routing the full engine harness inside here, just because we don't like to work backwards and just say if we chafe a wire or something like that, then we would have to go back, retake the harness out and make sure that and figure out what's the problem. But with that being said, that's why we like to start the whole motor with the harness and everything out there, just so we can pinpoint a problem if there is one a lot simpler and faster. So moving on from the interior, we gotta hop back out to the exterior and finish up the engine harness so we can hear this thing start or rip to life, baby.
Oh man, well this is definitely a bad representation of how the engine looks, but I guess it just keeps you on coming back watching just to see how this final engine bay looks. But we've already got all the engine harness laid out, situated, everything's grounded out. We've got the battery connected to the ground, which is the biggest thing on these motors. You need to make sure you have everything grounded and powered through. We've already got our fancy dancy clip that we've obviously pulled. We go ahead and give this 12 volt power for the ECU. Don't get too excited, because when it comes to these builds, you always want to make sure you got your oil in there so you don't just dry start your motor. You already see me putting on those rusted headers. Boy, does it not complement the chrome valve covers at all. So we've got a little bit of a hookup on the headers. We'll see if Marlon's able to pull the trigger. We'll go from there. But for now, let's hear a wrap up to life and see what else you can do on the streets, baby. Not trying to start it, just getting oil pressure everywhere. Making sure that it's in the head, and the pistons, galleries, everywhere where it needs to be lubricated.
Remember, this is a freshly rebuilt motor that we just got done building up for Marlon, so it can last all of its lifetime.
So since we don't have a sufficient enough of fuel yet, we'll just be using right now starting fluid.
The good old air to fuel ratio mixture.
Just rip up to life. Ready?